Hello and welcome to Creatives Like Us, a podcast where we open up conversations about what it really means to build a creative career when you're Black or brown. I'm your host, brand and marketing graphic designer, Angela Lyons. In my guest episodes, I sit down with creatives who are out there doing the work, navigating the industries, and proving that there's space for all of us. Because the more we share, the more we see our stories out there, and the more we see ourselves reflected, and the more we realise we're not alone in this. Okay then, are you ready? Let's dive into today's episode. Welcome, Jasmin, to Creatives Like Us. Can you tell us who you are, where you are in the world, and introduce yourself?
Oh, thank you so much, Angela. Really, really happy to be here. So my name is Jasmin Dhillon. I am based in West London, born and bred Londoner, very proud. I am, as in a day job, I'm an accountant. In business, I run property businesses. And then also, I think how we met was through property, but I also co-host a podcast called Women in Property with one of my friends, Rani.
Yeah, brilliant. And I think the reason I was really, I think as you said at the beginning of the podcast, so you draw off people's energy. And when I first spoke to you at that meeting, I thought, wow. And she had her camera, Jasmin had her camera out. She was just recording. And I thought, wow, this is so creative. I know that sometimes we're in industries that can be really, some people might say boring.
Yeah.
Or they might say it's not exciting, but the way that you brought the content to life, I just thought was really creative. So how do you see yourself as a creative?
So I never really did. My star sign is Pisces. I'm meant to be creative. I'm meant to be in tune and intuitive and like art and stuff. And I actually did GCSE art, but I don't know how to draw.
Doesn't matter.
Exactly. And that's what they encourage.
But everybody can draw if they've got, pick up something.
Yeah. And if you practice enough, you will get better.
Mm-hmm.
But I wasn't that kind of artist. I was like a textures artist. So I would bring up leaves and like bark and grass and stick that on paper. And they would say, yeah, that's art. So I got a GCSE B, I think, art. So I've never seen myself as creative. I think when you become an accountant, it's all logic, it's all numbers, it's all formulas. This plus this equals this. And I just felt like it was too much of a structure. So I'm trying to get the creative juices out by, I don't know, as women, we can change our hairstyles, we can add makeup, we can wear colour in the workplace. Men are a bit more restricted. So I try and get my creativeness out that way. With the podcast, it was not my idea.
All right, let's talk about your podcast, because that's one of the reasons. Another reason why I thought, you should come on, because I think it's women of colour too. I open up my podcast app and I just see the same faces, and there's nothing wrong with some of those faces, but I just want to see a bit more diversity, a bit more colour, more women, I'd say. So tell us a little bit about your podcast and how because I think that's creative and how you got going with that. And so tell us about that.
Yeah. I think all social media is creative. So when I got into property, we were encouraged to get on social media and I hid. So I got a whole new Instagram account and I posted from there.
Oh, right. Tell me about that.
Yeah. So all of it. So I started property back in September 2024. And I joined with a big educator and he encouraged us to get on social media and talk about our journey. We didn't have to be fully fledged property investors, but he said, get your stories out there, get your face out there, get comfortable. So I was in a job, I think December 2024, and I was in the office on a contract role 5 days a week. And I had no time to make social content. I had no time to look for properties. So in my lunch hour, I would get my phone out and I would film what I had done in my lunch hour. Whether that was visiting estate agents, calling up agents, crunching some numbers. I would walk down the Hammersmith, King Street.
Do you know, I used to work down there. That was one of my first jobs. So it must have changed so much. But I used to work in the Quick down that road years ago. Because there's shopping centres there, the King's Mall.
Yeah, there is. That's near the end, near the station.
So I used to work down there. I know exactly what you're talking about.
So I would walk down that street, which was fairly busy.
Yeah, I know that is a really busy street. Buses,
Main
cars.
road.
Yeah, everything.
And I was like, just get myself out there. And literally, I wasn't good. And my friends would laugh at me and say, oh my God, you look really cold in that video. You got a red nose. And I was like, that's not helpful. And then my mom would be like, oh, but you sound very out of breath. And I was like, well, I was walking. But I just did it and I didn't care what people had to say. And that's what helped my confidence be on camera, get on stages and talk about what I do. In terms of the podcast, women in property is something that we have no spotlight on. Women are not considered to be in property. Like, they are the minority. Although they could be doing the biggest deals ever, they are just not considered to be part of the big stage. There's no area for them. Like, I didn't have a resource when I started to go and click and find out more information about property. Me and my friend Rani don't want to talk about the successes of when you've made it. We want to focus on the journey, on how to get there, share the challenges, share first steps. And I think that's really important.
Mm-hmm. I think also, I've got to address it too, because I think sometimes, when I started this podcast, it's about empowering, especially graduates and people that might want a change of career to be in a creative industry. And as people might say that property is not creative, and I know a lot of people say there are ways to be creative in property. I know you do it with your content, but also you can be creative with your finances too. I think a lot of people forget about that. And then people think, oh my God, how can I start in property when I've got no money? But there's so many ways that you can do it. And if people want to do it, because I think also people might see property as a bit of a, what's the word? Like, oh God, a bit uncomfortable. It's a bit of an ick. I don't want to talk about that. Have you ever come across that?
Yeah, I find it actually really difficult being in property. So my dad's been in property since he was probably around 20 when he owned his first house, and he needed help from his parents. And him and his wife and his brother and his wife moved in together because they couldn't afford it to pay mortgages and stuff like that. And my dad became a landlord quite early as well, before he was 30. So he's always been in property. My mum has pushed him to get into investments and have other forms of income. And I think that's how they were able to grow their portfolio. My mum is not involved. She has no idea what money is coming in. My mum doesn't have her own bank account, but that's something that she's changing now. I think the older generation were just stuck in a way of the man goes out to work, he looks after the finances, the woman looks after the house and the children. Whereas now we're trying to change those things up. So I'm an only child. Both my parents weren't born in this country. They were born in Singapore. So I'm the first generation born here. So I'm only child. I'm female. I'm brown skin. I'm definitely the minority. And I was like, who am I trying to be getting into property? But my reality is I'm an only child and my dad has property. Where is that going to go? That's going to come to me. I need to know what's going to happen. If I'm going to get taxed, I might as well stop working now and just run off that income. I need to know exactly what's going on. Inheritance is ridiculous here. I think that's what puts a lot of people off property. Headaches with tenants, like strict rules not being there to protect landlords. There's lots of things going on that pushes people away. And this podcast, and even me being on social media, want to be a resource to other women or people in general who want to get into property and are feeling scared or don't know how to get into it, because it is scary if you don't know.
Yeah. I suppose there's a saying, what you don't know, you don't know. So,
and you don't know what you don't know.
You don't know what you don't know. And it is a saying. So it is a thing to go out there and find out about it. And it's great that you've got the podcast on that platform to do it.
Yeah. I think it's important for women to know exactly what's going on, because if they're working, they need to know where their finances are going. If their husband leaves them, if their husband passes away, how will they be able to fund their expenses and their families, and how will they know anything? I work in finance already, so I think women need to know about their finances.
Mm-hmm. So from the early days of walking down King Street with your phone in your hand and your mum telling you, I can't hear you, or you look cold, or your friends telling you this, that and the other.
Yeah.
How have you used that platform to help people in their property and women with their property journey?
So I just share my ups and downs, really. So I bought a cottage last year in August, and I started running it as an Airbnb in September. And within,
nice.
I think, November or December, I found out there was a leak. The roof needed a change. So I called up some roofers and I got quoted for a tile change, £100, to some repairs costing £6,000, to a full roof costing £12,000.
Oh my God, that's so varied.
And I was like, what the heck? I don't have this kind of money 3 months in. Landlord life is hard. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to talk about these things because this is real life. And this is what people don't know what can happen. It doesn't mean that's the end of the road. Oh no, don't invest. It's like knowing this, get the quotes, start with the lowest number first and see if that fixes it. But if people don't talk about it, or if I don't see another woman talking about landlord life, like if you don't know, you won't know. If you know a little bit, you can ask more questions. If people share their journey, we're all going to learn. I need to be a person of value, and that's why I'm doing it. The podcast, the social media. I want to do speaking gigs. I want to speak to young people. I want to speak to the little Punjabi Indian girl in the crowd, you know, when her parents weren't born here and her parents didn't know what school to send her to. It's really difficult living in a different country where you weren't born. And we have that privilege and we should be using that to our advantage.
Oh, that's brilliant. Oh, that's really cool.
Did I answer your question? I feel like I keep going off on tangents.
Even if you do go off on the tangents, I think that's what's great about having a podcast and having like conversations like this, because we're talking to the listener that's tuning in right now. Hopefully that's resonating with them. And if it goes off on a little bit of tangent, they might be making notes, think I must come back to that, or I'm going to check Jasmin out after this. So it's all good. It's all good. So yeah, thank you. It's really good. It's really good. So you mentioned that your dad was the one that, because I always ask people about the catalyst connection, and you mentioned that your dad was the one that was in property. Was he the one that put you on the path of property, or was it something that you woke up and thought ping, or did you talk to somebody and decide to go down that path?
Yeah, it's a couple of things. So I've always known that my dad's in property, but I've never wanted to go near it because I felt like it was a bit of a headache. And then in 2018, me and him co-bought a flat in Northwest London. And he used to run it, but I still used to pay my taxes on 50% on my higher wage tax, but he would get the money. So then in 2024, I was not happy. So in 2024, my job, I became redundant. And at the same time, that same flat became empty after being tenanted for 6 or 7 years. And I was like, oh my gosh, the stars have aligned. This is my chance to get into property and run that flat as an Airbnb.
Brilliant.
So I did some education and it was running really well. I had a couple of people kind of trash the place, have a little party, annoy the neighbors. I had one person buzzing all the neighbors at 3 a.m. because he'd forgotten his keys somewhere. And one of the neighbors had to shout back at him and say, if he doesn't stop, he's going to get the police called on him. So I've had the ups and the downs. And then I realized I can't actually do the Airbnb in the flat because it's a leasehold. And within the leasehold contract, it's not allowed. So I was like, fair, can't do it. And then I joined the academy that I'm on with the big educator. And they agreed. They were like, the lawyer came in, she was like, no, don't do it. It's not safe. Just stop doing that. So my income dried up.
Mm. Oh dear.
And I was like, okay, now I need to go get a job. Because I couldn't get a rental and I couldn't get a mortgage without a pay slip.
Oh, yeah. Even though you had it, you still have to get the mortgage on top of it. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so I was like, I can't do, if I wanted to buy something, I can't get a mortgage because I don't have a pay slip. So I had to go back to work. And I was like, the stars haven't aligned now. I have to go back to corporate.
But listen, you had to go back to work and that's the bread and butter, isn't it? That's the bread and butter.
Exactly.
You have to get that bread and butter money.
Yeah, and that taught me the lesson, right? Like I need to build at the same time of having my corporate job. Because at first people feel like they can't do anything because they're in the corporate job. I think you can and you should. There needs to be multiple forms of income. Me being made redundant was a big lesson to say you can't trust a contract unless you're in charge of the contract.
Yeah, exactly. But even then, even if there's nothing's, as they say, nothing's sacred or nothing's permanent, even if you have got a permanent job, they can, contracts are permanent, they can get, anyone can be made redundant anytime or something could happen to the company and that job is gone. But you made an interesting point there, because I think as as I suppose, call myself a solopreneur, freelancer, person in business, it's just me. And I am by myself. I've got my husband and we work together on things. But I do look for multiple streams of income, whether it's that long contract job or trying to, pitch myself to get as many jobs as I can. And it's lovely. Everyone sees me networking, but I am actually working at the same time and putting my face out there. I think people think I'm having a nice little jolly and I'm busy all the time, but you're seeing a fraction of my time that I'm allowing to show you online. I'm not out and about all the time. And some things I might save up for 1 week and I might share it another week, even though it looks like I'm busy and doing something all the time. So how do you feel about networking and going out and about? And especially if you've got any tips for someone that's going it alone because they might not have a friend or a family member going with them?
Yeah, for sure. So like I said, I'm an only child and I think that has helped me in life generally. I'm used to going to places alone. I have specific interests that not all my friends have. Like property is one of them. I tried to invite one of my friends to them and they were like, no. So I was like, okay. So the academy that I'm in, we have inner circles, which are like local, smaller groups in the kind of like your local area. So in those, we always have to stand up and introduce ourselves. And at the beginning, I hated it.
Is that like, what do they call it? The 30-second pitch?
Yeah, 20 or 30-second pitch. Yeah, depending how much time they have. And obviously, when you're at the beginning, you haven't done anything. So what do you talk about? So I just used to stand up. Sometimes I used to stand up, sometimes I wouldn't. And that's your choice. Like if you don't feel comfortable. But the thing that I learned early on is that confidence only comes from doing. I thought you had to be confident first and then I'd go up on stage, but that's not the case. So I just started involving myself in these 20-second pitches. And it used to grate on me that I couldn't actually talk about anything that I'd done. I hadn't got a cottage by then. I got the cottage nearly 11 months after I'd started on the academy. But I would just talk about what I was interested in finding and who I wanted to connect with. So it was more like, what is my value? What can I add to somebody else? But also, what am I looking for? So that when the open networking is there, people will come to you and you will come to them. And that's probably how it started with you and me. I went up, I said, I do a podcast. Something must have intrigued you about the 20-second pitch that I gave. And that's how we connected. So I think it's really important to be bold, have the confidence, get up, show yourself. Why do women go into a room full of men, usually property, accounting, all of these things, and feel like they need to shy away? We bring something to the table. And I think a lot of women don't value themselves enough to say, yes, I'm taking control, I'm taking charge, I'm doing this.
Mm-hmm. I'm taking this space.
Yeah. And my dad's always encouraged it. My mum's a bit of a scaredy cat and says, like, protect yourself, be careful, do this. My dad's like, go out, enjoy life,
It's nice to have that balance then, yeah?
It is.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
But my dad's, I feel like men and women get brought up differently. I feel like if I had a brother, he would be encouraged to go out and make mistakes, whereas women are felt like protect, help, don't take risks.
Uh-huh.
And that can hinder us for future in corporate world and in business world.
Yeah, I love that line what you said, the confidence comes from only doing. I love that. It's just so true because I think that was one of the things that actually grabbed my attention is that you turned up and I think you had one of those gimbal, is it called a gimbal?
DJ.
Dojo, whatever they call it. Is it dojo? Yeah.
I don't know, DJ? I don't know what it's called.
But it looks, I know exactly what it is. And I can see it in my head. But it was one of those things that you had the camera and you was directing someone. I think it was in the audience. Said, no, get it this way. And I was like, oh my gosh, she knows what's going on here. So she's going to be using this as content.
Yeah.
And I loved it. You took your 20-second pitch. And because that's what we have now. We have a 60-second pitch at the beginning. And I love it because you took that 60 seconds. You thought, I'm going to use this as content. And I thought, that is so creative because and you would never think that your 60-second pitch would be your a bit of content because you think, I'm just going to stand up and speak. But, you can repurpose that. You can put that, pin that to your profile. And you're literally talking to the room and you're talking to your audience while you're on social media. So I love that.
Because this is what they teach us in the academy. You see other people doing it. So when I came to the pin, I was like, why is no one doing this? So I feel like an expert already.
Yeah,
And that's why you have to push yourself into different rooms because you're going to learn. I thought that pin was going to be full of older white men. And I was so happy to go in there and see women, see people of color. I was like, yes, this is my type of room. Things are changing.
Brilliant. Yeah. And also there was a lot of women in that room that day. You know, so it was a nice mix. So still a lot. I think the majority of the men were, but it was a nice mix of both, I'd say.
Yeah. So
Good.
things are changing.
Yeah. So what about your future projects? What's the future hold for you? Tell me about, is there anything creative? I mean, what about the podcast? Anything creative coming up with that?
Yeah, I think with the podcast, I have so many ideas and I get inspired a lot. So I don't know if you know your human design, but I'm a manifesting generator, which means I have lots of ideas all the time and just not enough time to finish them off. So like I said, I work in corporate, I do property, I like networking, I do the podcast. I want to do more podcasts. I want to give people value. I feel like I know lots of people who can add value. And I think sometimes property and women is a bit niche. So I feel like maybe I want to open that up or do my separate podcast because I feel like everyone has a story. And the more stories you share, the more people can connect with you as a person. And just, I'm very curious. And that might be a reason why you might have started your podcast as well. If you like talking to people and finding people's stories and just figuring out how people tick, how they become successful, we all know it's not an overnight success. It is building and building. But I feel like we are changing into AI and computers, and we can have a wider reach by having YouTubes and Spotifys. But the main thing is to have that human connection, like sharing the stories of what used to happen when we were younger. When we were younger, we didn't have so much technology. You know, we would talk to our parents, we would talk to our friends, we would have telephone conversations. And now I feel like things have just changed so much. And I really want to bring that back to the forefront. So I think different types of podcasting would be great. I want to speak on stages. I want to get like financial literacy out there. I want to see brown people talking about this kind of thing as well. You know, the younger generation are just so brave. I see 26-year-olds out there on stages getting brand campaigns and talking to the younger generation. And that works for a certain type of market. But I feel like somebody who is like my age of 40 years old has a completely different experience because I didn't grow up with social media and I remember what times were like when you actually used to have a conversation.
Yeah, same.
And I just feel like this generation has lost a lot of it. And even a 26-year-old doesn't understand it because they've grown up with technology and this is all that they know. But that is not all of life. I feel like I want to connect the older generation to the younger generation. And I feel we can only do that through conversation. So that's something that I really want to work on.
It's funny. It's interesting because a lot of that's what brands. I think I read somewhere the other day. There's like they said something like there's the death of the influencer, and people want to talk more to real people and real connections and make real connections, which is true. But they've got to have those spaces to do it, really, haven't you? And it's like you can't just be, I suppose, through the social media or through just through Instagram. You've got to do them in person. So actually, that's one of the things I can talk to you about because at the beginning you said, "Oh, I see you everywhere." So I said, "If you'd have seen me this time last year, you would have seen me even more." Because I had to not give it up, but we've just had to pause it for a while. It's creatives like us, the event where we got myself, Io, Abbas and Vanessa Bello. We got creatives in a room, black creatives in a room, entrepreneurs, business owners, and we talked to them about their businesses. And it was also a networking event for them. And it was great. It was based in Shoreditch. We had 3 of them last year. And I think we need to see more of that if we can. But it is a lot of work putting on events. It is a lot of work. And even that getting, 30 people in the room is a lot of effort. Pushing, selling all the time, talking about it. As much as you've got your super fans, your supporters, which is great, you've still got to be, on it and telling people, trying to get new people into. So would you ever think of maybe doing an event one day soon?
Oh yeah, I'd love to do an event. I think connecting people and getting people together is amazing. But I also feel like very out of place. So I want to be really mindful of making it an environment where people feel comfortable, because I've been to so many networking events where I just feel so out of place, whether it's the way that I look, the way that I speak, the way that I feel. Sometimes it's like I said, it's energy. If the people at the front don't look like you, they're not going to understand your insecurities and how you're feeling in a bigger group. So I think that's really key. I haven't thought about like property or accounting or anything like that type of event. I'm actually thinking of like a wellness event, because I feel like corporate women or women in property are always really stressed out. They're not in their core value, they're in their masculine. And I feel like when you're just focused on your masculine, you're not bringing your full self to the table. Whereas if you're a bit more aligned into what you want and what feels comfortable to you, whether that's somatic work or chakra work or breath work or yoga, you just feel a bit more free and you're able to talk from yourself from within. And I think that is more important. And that's what kind of gives you more dimension when you talk about property or accounting, because men can't dig in that deep like us.
Yes, it's true. But it's also sad that they can't do that. And I know there's some people that are trying to bring have some sort of space for men and just have some sort of wellness for them, because I think that is needed 100% too, because
Agree.
they, don't really talk about themselves that much as women. And that's another thing when I notice when we go to wellness things or I suppose I've been to quite a few, business events for people in business that own their own businesses or freelancers. I don't know, the majority of the people that seem to be there are females. And I just think, where are the men? It's like, the women support women. I get that. But I also think I'd like to see some, I don't know, just see men there, just making sure that we all support each other, bring positivity to it.
Yeah, it's needed, because I had a friend of mine come to my property academy on Thursday to me. And he was like, "Oh, Jasmin, I heard you're doing this goal setting mindset workshop." And I was like, well, it just kind of started. I did a vision board with a few of my friends organized by somebody else. And then I said, in April, why don't we look at our Q1 and plan for Q2? So I just asked the women that were there and I just put it on stories, and I didn't get any replies. So I just reached out to some of my friends and they were like, "Yeah, we'll come." And then this gentleman, he was like, "So I just wanted to know, you do your Women in Property podcast, but is this goal setting for women only?" And I was like, because he was like, "I really want to come." And I was like, "Well, I don't mind, as in, it's not just for women.
Yeah.
It's just that I felt like only women would want to do this."
Yeah, yeah.
But he was like, "No, I really want to come. Can I come?"
Excellent.
And I was like, "Yeah, of course." Yeah. And that's why I feel like really sad when I niche down. But I also want to give women the spotlight.
I get it.
But men need it for sure, because I know my dad don't talk. I don't know what he's feeling half the time. You don't know what they're holding on to.
Yes, it's true. Did he come to the workshop, this guy?
So we haven't organised it. This was just a conversation we had on Thursday. We had the goal setting in April. I guess the next one for the next quarter would then be July. So yeah, he wants to come. We haven't organised anything, but we already have somebody who wants to come, which is great. And why not?
Exactly. And also, he'll tell his people, and you never know. It'll just spread it to a bigger thing. Is that in person or online?
In person. I'm not an online girly. If I can get somewhere, I'm going to get there.
Yeah. I love that. Also, go back to your podcast, it's in person and you've got a studio.
My friend did it all. She organised it all.
Okay.
Yeah. She's actually from Coventry and she found it in Uxbridge.
Serious? Yeah. So she travelled. Okay.
Yeah.
That's really good.
I think it looks good.
It does. It looks really good. It looks really professional.
But I also like this. So
yeah, we're recording remotely using Riverside. And I think just because I have so many people from I've had somebody from Canada being interviewed before. We would never be able to make it into a studio.
Exactly.
So it's great to do this. And I've also been in person studios, which is great. There's so many now, so many.
They're popping up all over the place. Yeah. That's another property place or thing to do. You just rent out a space and then rent it out to people on an hourly or daily rate. I think there's money in there. Yeah.
I love that, thinking creatively about your money.
Yeah, for sure, we have to. And I really want to do a podcast with my niece in Toronto, Canada. So maybe Riverside is the way to go.
Yeah, 100%. Well, if you need any tips or help, let me know and I can point in the right direction. It's so simple. You just send them a link. It's just literally as I sent it to you.
Yeah. No, I think it's such a great idea because this is how we're going to connect people, right? Like a business that could work in the UK could also work in Canada as well.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
we can just share information and see how we can make things worldwide.
Yes, exactly. So I always ask my guests, what would you tell your teenage self? Jasmin, what would you tell your teenage self?
I feel like teenage self. What I would even tell my yesterday self or my year ago self. I feel like when you're young, and like I said, because I'm an only child, I felt like I needed to follow the route. The route being study for my A-levels. Doing art, GCSE, was not considered a subject in my household. And then I had to go to university and I just picked accounting because I like numbers. But I literally like numbers in year 4.
You like numbers all the time? Yeah.
Yeah, not during high school when you're doing Pythagoras theorem or statistics and other things. And you're like, oh my God, this is so dull. But yeah, I did my accounting degree. I got a placement year, which I was really happy about, which meant that I was able to work in my 3rd year and then complete my 3rd year of university in my 4th year.
Brilliant.
So I got a bit of a taster. And then I studied for my ACCA qualification, and that is a lot of hard work while you're working and doing a qualification on the side. So that took a few years as well. And I feel like how times have changed, no one would have known. So as a teenager, I wouldn't have known how big social media would have been and everything like that. But I just feel like if I wasn't so restricted in following a route, I might have known what I really wanted to do. Not saying that I wouldn't become an accountant because I feel like it's a safe, sturdy job and that's what I need. But I just would have been more open to having other interests as well. Because I feel like creativeness is kind of like pushed to the bottom. It's all about how to make money. It's all about being logical. It's all about taking the next steps, getting a job after. Like I graduated in 2008, the biggest financial crisis had just happened. I just picked the first job I could. Whereas now I feel like the younger generation don't have to work for a year and they'll still be looked after by their parents. Like they don't have that same urge to get up and go. They want the easy life because they focus too much on social media and the life that other people are sharing. That's not real life. So now I would say have courage. Don't be afraid. But it's really difficult when you've grown up a certain way in an immigrant household to have that. But if I had young kids now, I would teach them to just go all out and I wouldn't
do whatever.
Yeah, and I wouldn't treat a girl and a boy differently. I think that's the biggest separation in society nowadays. It's really difficult.
So I think you're saying that you would just say, go for it. Just try different things.
Yeah. Not don't follow what your parents say, but like have confidence in yourself to do what you want to do.
Yeah, perfect. That's great. Lovely. I always ask my guests the quick fire of 5 questions and it's like one or the other. So let's just have a little bit of fun. It's just a bit of silliness. But some people take it seriously, but let's just have a little bit of fun. So
yeah, sure.
Crisp or chocolates?
Oh, chocolate. Easy.
Beach or forest?
Beach.
Book or Kindle?
Book.
Reggae or soul?
Soul.
A patty or a sandwich?
I don't know what patty is, so I'm going to go with sandwich.
You've never had a patty?
I don't think so. And if it's made out of meat, I don't know.
There are vegetable
You have to describe the whole thing and then I might pick.
So basically it's like how can I say? It's like a Cornish pasty, but flatter and come from the West Indies and it's meat or veg inside. There must be some near you in West London.
I need to try one and then I will give you a direct answer.
Or next time we meet up, and let me know when we meet up again, and I'll bring you a patty.
Yeah. I'm just very English and said sandwich. Who wants a cold sandwich on a winter's day? Not me.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Jasmin, for coming on the podcast. And before we leave, can you tell people where to find you, how to connect with you?
Yeah, sure. So I am on Instagram on Jasmin, JASMIN _ Dhillon, DHILLON _ properties. And yeah, that's my biggest one. And then I also have the Women in Property podcast, which is under my friend's page, which is Sing Core Properties. So you can find that on YouTube as well. So yeah, there's a few videos there. So we're just starting out, just have a couple of videos out. But yeah, that's a little bit about me. On LinkedIn, I'm an accountant. So I don't know if people are interested in that.
So everyone needs an accountant and everyone needs to know about numbers. So it's all good, all good. I'll leave all those links in the show notes for everyone to connect and talk to you again if they want to reach out and connect to you directly. So thank you so much for being on the Creatives Like Us podcast. And yeah, just great to have you, and good luck with everything.
Yeah, thank you so much for the opportunity, Angela. This means the world to me. So thank you.
No worries. Have a great day.
You too.
Thanks for listening to Creatives Like Us. If this conversation resonated with you, share it with someone who needs to hear it today. That's how we build our communities and amplify our voices. You can find all the show notes and the links at linescreative.co.uk podcast, and connect with me on LinkedIn and Instagram. I'd love to see you there. Also, make my day if you can leave a review or comment in your listening platform choice. And it's really easy in Spotify. Leave it in the comments. Until next time, keep creating and keep supporting creatives like us. See you next time. Bye.